Education. A well-known Soviet slogan, learn, learn and learn, describes our whole lives. When we heard this slogan from our mums on our way to school, we just rolled our eyes. We don't realise that we learn everywhere we go and at every point in our lives. Welcome to our next podcast, where you can learn with us once again.
Sloboda je kľúčom k nezávislosti. No, čo sloboda znamená pre teba? Štvorka ťa nebude obmedzovať. Sloboda pre mladých nie je len paušál. Sú to otvorené dvere do nového slobodného života. Tak daj záväzky bokom a prejdi do štvorky. Voľné minúty, SMS-ky a mobilné dáta dostaneš už za 4 eurá mesačne, a to bez viazanosti. Všetko vyriešiš pohodlne na webe slobodapremladých.sk alebo v mobilnej appke Moja štvorka. Stačí, aby si mal potvrdenie o štúdiu. Tak na čo ešte čakáš?
Education has been a subject of discussion in every society and in every age. There were always differences between educated and uneducated people. Noblemen and rich families supported their kids so they could go to school or have private lessons in writing, reading, learning Latin and other languages as well as religion. The unlucky ones learned practical skills at home, and these children were discriminated against because of their status and race. The literacy rate was very low until Maria Theresa initiated an education reform in 1775. She changed living standards from unhygienic customs to a world of hygiene, vaccinated children, and compulsory education. Education nowadays evokes many discussions. Some people claim that education is a must and proper qualifications are a necessity, whereas others judge education and believe that you don't need it to become successful and rich. A general conclusion might indicate that education is a very important key to gaining the knowledge and skills necessary for future jobs and tasks in work or everyday life. It develops our critical thinking and opens up more opportunities in life. Education starts with the best period ever, in nursery and kindergarten. Children usually don't realise the value of their time spent in these institutions because sleeping is considered to be a punishment. A place where you learn by playing, drawing, where you gain knowledge of how to behave in society, and at the table should really be called a paradise. Children attend primary school at the age of 6, or a maximum of 7 if they are not mature enough to start school earlier. School attendance in Slovakia is compulsory for 10 years, which means that an average kid is free to leave at the age of 16. Other countries also limit school attendance because it is up to students to continue in their studies. Students can decide whether they want to work and dedicate their life to practical matters, or whether they prefer to broaden their horizons and study more. Pursuing higher education is completely voluntary. British and Slovak education shares some similarities, but there are more differences than common points. The British education system is characterised by public schools, which are mistakenly referred to as state schools. Public schools are very prestigious private institutions providing a high level of education. Many public schools are single-sex, which means that you won't find a boy in a group of girls and vice versa. Typical public schools are Eton, Harrow and Winchester. Compulsory school attendance for British children is from the age of 5 to 16, which is 1 year longer than in Slovakia. Education in Britain is divided into key stages, defined by the age of particular students. Key Stage 1 is for the youngest students from age 5 to 7. Key Stage 2 includes kids from 7 to 11, and Key Stage 3 is for kids starting puberty, which means from the age of 11 to 14. And the peak of puberty and the search for identity is typical of Key Stage 4, with students aged from 14 to 16. Wearing uniforms is a common custom at British schools. Uniforms enable students to have an equal status without any knowledge of their social class of origin. Another significant plus lies in the morning routine, when young people don't have to stand in front of their wardrobe every morning and wonder about what to wear. Unfortunately, one uniform is not enough, and parents are supposed to invest money in several uniforms due to the intensive growth of children in puberty. Uniforms in Slovakia are an exception, worn only in some prestigious private schools. British exams are categorised into levels according to the age of students. GCSE exams are taken at the end of the first chapter of studies, and they examine the general knowledge of students tested at key stage number 4. The core of the test is made up of English, maths and science. A-levels, or advanced level qualifications, are subject-based qualifications mostly taken by students who wish to continue their studies at colleges and universities. Studying at university in Britain is expensive and not everyone can afford it. Many students have to work part-time to pay their tuition fees. What is Slovak education like? Opinions about Slovak education vary, and they are usually negative. There is still an idea that modern education has nothing to do with the current system, and that Slovakia is keeping its traditions from the communist era. Opinions and the overall level of education are influenced by the state, the support it provides, and the attitude to teachers and students. Yes, there are many sides of Slovak education that should be improved. However, we can confidently say that our students are clever, determined, and ambitious. What kind of student are you? A couch potato or a nerd doing your best? The education system consists of primary schools divided into first and second grade. The first grade educates younger pupils, providing them with skills like reading or writing. The second grade expands the number of subjects and students study the basics of physics, chemistry, and biology. The last, 9th class, requires students to pass the monitor test in Slovak and maths. This test can also act as an entrance exam for secondary schools. Students choose whether they want to attend a grammar school, typical for giving a general education, or rather a specialised school, such as a business academy or a vocational school specialising in a concrete field. The latter train students for practical jobs and provide a certificate for carrying out a professional activity. Secondary education usually takes 4 years, and students are supposed to pass the maturita leaving exam. Maturita includes tests from Slovak and a foreign language, which are compulsory subjects, and 2 more optional subjects in the case of grammar schools. Vocational schools determine their own subjects, usually practical exams, projects, and other special subjects. The exam is divided into a written and an oral examination. All state primary and secondary schools in Slovakia are free of charge and provide education to everyone. And there are also private schools where you must pay monthly tuition fees. Many schools offer the opportunity to attend extracurricular activities like painting, drama lessons, or sports clubs. If you are an education freak, you should also attend university. Comenius University is on the list of the best universities in Slovakia. The standard length of university studies is 5 years, divided into semesters ending in exams. State exams include a presentation of the bachelor or diploma thesis and oral examinations in specialised subjects. Dear listeners, as you already know, education is a huge part of our lives and we never stop learning. It is a whole life process, including lessons from work, relationships, communication, parenthood, and the acceptance of one's own personality. It's stressful, sometimes really tiring and annoying to go to school and sit exams, but no one can take from you the experience and knowledge you gain. Try to soak up any information that you will need for the future and don't give up. It's a fight, like everything. However, if you are not overwhelmed, listen to us more. Private boarding schools still exist in Britain, and they are known for their high status. Students learn independence from a young age, living in boarding houses with their roommates and following a strict regime. The requirements and expectations from parents and teachers are really high, and students have to show the best work. Private boarding schools are funded by tuition fees paid by the parents of students, which represents a monthly fee to cover accommodation, school services, and materials. Do any problems occur in your school? Nowadays, bullying is considered a huge problem in society, mostly happening in schools, but also in the workplace, and often at home too. The aggressors find their victims who appear to be too weak to defend themselves and bully their classmates physically or mentally. Physical bullying includes fights, whereas mental bullying typically involves mockery, swear words, and humiliation. We don't have to think about what is worse. Bullying shouldn't exist at schools in any case, and it should be dealt with by teachers in cooperation with parents. What are the reasons for bullying? Aggressors are usually victims of their own private problems coming from within their family. This can be divorce, alcoholism, a lack of confidence, or trying to fit into a group. People discuss how the aggressor should be treated, if a punishment is acceptable, but consultations with a psychologist are very beneficial and helpful. There are many preventive programs to avoid bullying at schools, so be careful. And whenever you notice any sign of bullying, don't be afraid to inform your parents or teachers. And now, some more pleasant information. If you are really hungry, most schools provide a canteen where you can enjoy a delicious lunch for a low price, sitting at a table with your classmates. If the school doesn't offer this option, students usually bring their own lunch or sandwiches from home. For several years, there was a policy in Slovakia that pupils of primary schools could have lunch free of charge. However, this policy has come to an end. When you attend university, the first 3 years of study are part of a bachelor's study, finished by the presentation of a bachelor thesis and state exams. If you decide to continue, a master's degree takes 2 more years to complete. By passing the state exams and presenting your diploma thesis, you prove a firm grasp of your chosen field of study and that you are able to work and conduct research. If you are brave enough, you can continue with PhD studies, which include teaching at a university and participating in research and publications. However, university is not only about studying. It is also about fun, parties, stress from exams and tests, in one community gathered together on a campus. If you come from a different city, universities provide accommodation on campuses where students share rooms with other roommates. The best feeling ever is that all the students on the campus share similar thoughts, opinions, and feelings of being lost in the world of university and information. Living on campus teaches you independence from your parents, forces you to find a part-time job that gives you enough practical experience and money to be spent on coffee breaks during the lessons, as well as study materials, of course. Dear listeners, value the education and teachers who do their best to prepare you for life, and remember that humans are made for lifelong learning. This is all from us for now. Thank you very much for listening, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. We will be delighted if you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or write a comment on YouTube. We hope you listen to us again soon.